South African Investment Conference in Sandton at 2 p.m. Let's get the latest from the conference. We cross back to my colleague Arabile Gumede. Over to you, Arabile.
Yeah, it's a good afternoon again then to you, Nompumelelo. Look, it certainly is going to be an interesting conference, right? This third investment conference then for South Africa does mean that it has to be adherent to COVID-19 rules, and unfortunately the communication that needs to be brought forward. I mean, I got to speak to Trudy Makaya not so long ago, the economic advisor to President Cyril Ramaphosa, and she highlighted just how she found that the communication with international partners and those interested in investing in South Africa, as well as local partners, were actually more amenable to doing the communication thing as well via video link with the phone calls or the like as well. It actually made things a little bit easier. More communication was able to be done as well, despite as well the different time zones which people were affected by. Of course, the consistent travel between countries that people have to face is very difficult as well. So that does make things very difficult. But Trudy also noted that South Africa did need to tell a different story now because of COVID-19 and what the impact of that has had on South Africa's finances. Yes, the debt trajectory does not look good, but we can certainly build on the elements of the recovery plan that President Cyril Ramaphosa has put forward and try to forge a way forward for South Africa's growth picture. How little you can put forward is fully dependent then on what South Africa does have to offer. At this point in time, the one big thing is certainly the mining industry. The Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Gwede Mantashe, is speaking a little bit earlier and saying that South Africa has a lot to offer. We have certainly been mapped, and in terms of mineral resources, we have enough rare earth metals, for example, to continue an investment drive. We need to be able to disseminate information to the investor community on a global scale to be able to let them know that South Africa certainly does have enough and is open for business on a continued basis as well. The investment climate isn't easy. Of course, a whole lot of people across the world certainly want the kind of investments that South Africa itself need. And with us only having had around 664 billion rand thus far from this investment conference, the two previous ones, that is, it is up to this one and the next two then for the president to set up and ensure that he gets that 1.2 trillion rand in terms of investments that he says he certainly would require for the country in order to pick itself up. It may even be a greater figure. It may even mean South Africa needs further commitments beyond what we currently sit at. Because one thing's for sure, the COVID-19 impact has deepened the scars of normal South Africans. The unemployment rate has certainly spiked up to levels not seen since we've had the quarterly labor force survey that South Africa presented not so long ago. And of course, the growth trajectory still not looking good, even from a low base headed into next year and the year after that. GDP per capita, which certainly rates just how you and I fare when it comes to the amount of money we could have in our pockets as a proportion of GDP, also tells you that South Africa's story does not look enterprising. There's certainly a lot that needs to be forged ahead, and with just under 10 minutes or so to go until President Cyril Ramaphosa actually opens the address then at the third South Africa Investment Conference, what he will need to do is ensure that not only confidence is exuded, but really that the plans that have been set forward by government as well, with the reconstruction plan, with our debt trajectory, with how we're planning to perhaps minimize the cost expenditure for the nation, it's going to have to be very stern. A stern message of reforms, a stern message of now actually doing the work, and not just sitting on our laurels and not just hoping for the best in the end as well. So the difficulty is that the message has been there for the longest time, and it's now time to ensure that actual action actually happens at this time. Now that is going to be the question. Will we get the kind of implementation that South Africa requires, that South Africa needs, that South Africa should have post this investment conference? Nompumelelo, it's going to be a tough one. The president speaks at around 2 p.m. and of course we'll try and get that for you live here from the Sandton Convention Center. So of course do stay tuned. We're with you across the afternoon though to give you the latest right from here as well. We'll continue to interview the guests, the movers, the shakers, and of course the money makers as well. It's back to you in studio.
Thanks very much, Arabile, for that. Of course, I'll be back with more news for you at the top of the hour. In fact, hopefully with the speech from President Ramaphosa. Your weather details